have the lovely director and writer, Mr. Tom Payton, everyone. Now, you've all seen his amazing trailer this evening. It is for his upcoming film called Redwood. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Redwood, bit of a strange one. I mean, obviously you all saw it. If you're a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, we got Nicholas Brendan to come and be in the movie. I myself am a massive Buffy fan, and it was like a real honour to get in a film like this. But the actual concept of the movie itself is, I'm a bit of a fan of taking cliches and then trying to rinse them into something a bit different. So we sort of start with that couple go camping in the woods kind of vibe, and then it really spirals into something a lot different. And and obviously vampires, and I mean I try not to take my films too seriously as well. I'm not a serious person in real life, so in the movie we deal with some really serious issues, but always with a sort of a finger on the button to remember that people should be having fun, and that's the kind of movie that I like to make. For me, it's about, if you want to have a good time with a film, then great. But if you want to take some deeper messages from it, then you'll get that too. So I try to find the balance, and I think we pulled it off with Redwood, so I'm really proud of it.
Also, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Pandorica and Glow. You've got another film starting next year as well.
Yeah.
And also, for all the filmmakers here this evening who want to make the transition from short films into feature films, I mean, how do you go about doing that, especially with the finance side of things? I know you work in the sales distribution as well, so you can tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so you basically want me to waffle for a minute. Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right, so for those of you that don't know anything about me, I'm a second-time feature film director. That's my second movie. My first one was a film called Pandorica, and it was a bit of a strange story how that all came about. I was working as a music video director, commercials. I'm self-taught. I didn't go to university. I decided when I was 20. I'm actually 31 now. I look about 12 still. But I decided. I decided. You know what? This is what I want to do for a living, and I felt that all the information I needed was out there. So I always say I went to the University of YouTube, and I was very dedicated, and I spent at least 3-4 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week, learning what I could. So it was like learning camera skills, learning how to use After Effects, learning how to use Adobe Premiere. And at the same time I was trying to make sure I could earn a living from film, because I didn't want to get a real job. So, although my parents were on me all the time for that, I decided, I can apply this and practice whilst making money. So I started making nightclub videos, and that turned into DJ tour videos. And I was quite lucky. I was around when this crazy thing called YouTube got bought by Google, and I was like the only guy making DJ promos, and next thing you know, I'm on tour with big DJs around the world and stuff, so that was kind of cool. And then from the music video side of things, I got picked up by a company who are a traditional film company. They deal with films in a traditional sales sense, and I wrote a film called Endemic, and I got flew to LA, and I got flew to Cannes, and I thought, you know what, I've made it. No, that is not how the industry works. It's completely not how it is. I find for me, because I've always been so progressive as a filmmaker, I was always like, let's just get it done. Money's not an issue, we can find a way around it. Never. Find a way to fix it in the script, And I found the film industry very lethargic, very sort of, it doesn't want to move quickly, and I kind of got the sense that's because there's a whole group of middlemen who don't want it to move quickly, because they're making lots of money by keeping things not moving quickly. And I'd seen all of this before with the YouTube stuff and the music industry, so I was like, the music industry's always been 10 years ahead of the film industry. They've always been, they've outpaced us, because as soon as we had 3G, you could download an MP3, and then we get 4G, and suddenly you can do it with film. So the music industry has figured out a lot of the problems that film is now facing, and so I started to look for ways of, okay, how do I get my film done myself? So I'm starting to go to all these conferences and talks, and the same shit that just happens over and over and over. It's we've spent $10 million on this app, and people are going to download the app, and then people will put their films on the app, and we'll have to spend another $10 million marketing the app, and then we haven't even thought about how we're going to market the films on the app yet. I was just like, this is crazy. People trying to reinvent the wheel. So I came up with this idea. I will borrow from the music industry, exactly. So we copied the digital record label model. I brought in a guy called Nick Sadler, who runs a very successful digital record label, and I said, I don't want you to read about film, don't need to look into how it's done or sold, we're going to do it like music. That was last June, and since we did that, I wrote Pandorica in 3 weeks as a proof of concept product. We funded it very fast. We managed to get £77,000 together, based purely on this idea of using the music record label model. We shot the movie in October in 10 days. It was finished in post by Christmas. Then we self-released it into cinemas directly ourselves. We're the first independent movie to use our screen and become theatrically certificated. We did consecutive tour around the UK. One screen we even outsold Batman vs Superman, and they swapped the screens over for us. The Guardian wrote about us, Empire Total Film. So I think we proved in a very short space of time that you can, if you want to, just go and do it. And then very quickly off the back of that, Redwood came along, and you know, that was a crazy whirlwind experience. These guys came and said, here's a load of money, but we want to make a film in a month. So I wrote the script in 2 days. And next thing you know, we're in pre-production, and you know, I've managed to talk Xander to come and be in it. It was crazy. You know, so we shot that film in August, and now I'm off to LA at the end of the week to talk to some big distributors that now want to pick it up. And we have a slate of 9 movies that are funded or partially funded, ready to go. So there's lots going on, and I think that you know, if you've got the gumption to just go out and get things done, you can. And you know, for me, that's what filmmaking's become in 2016, and I think I'm proof of that. A year ago, I literally was a nobody, and this Friday I was on main stage at Comic-Con signing autographs and stuff, and that happened in a 1-year window, and not because anybody did it for me, because I was just like, fuck this, I'm gonna go and do it. And you know, and that's it. And I think that's what you need to do. And the idea behind the film label was simply because I appreciate that I'm in a bit of a rare position to a lot of filmmakers, because you know, filmmakers are creators by nature, not business people, and you know, in some respects, you don't want to spend all your time doing the business side of things. So the idea of the label was to say, well, look guys, here's a model, you can either use it yourself and do all the business, or if you just want to be a creator, we'll do that for you. And you can come to us and we'll help you find the money, and we'll get all the marketing and the sales done for you. And you won't have to deal with all these old guys that don't understand what it is you're trying to accomplish, or you know, read the first page of your script and then skip to the back and read that bit and then go, this is shit. Right? Because that's what you'll be dealing with. So yeah, that is basically what we do, and that's the story of me.
Well, fellow friend of the London Rolling Film Festival, Mr. Cos Greenhook, who sadly couldn't be here this evening, he has a film which you are helping him distribute, is that true?
That's correct, yeah.
It's called Dark Beacon, and that's coming out in 2017.
Yeah. Well, I met Cos in Cannes, and again, you know, he'd seen Pandorica on tour, and he's been through the traditional industry. He did a really great movie called Wandering Rose, which was, you know, I really admired what he'd done, and he took the same initiative that we'd taken, and you know, he big concept and scaled it down to a budget that you could do it on, and then the industry shafted him. You know, he signed it to a traditional sales agent who take a giant percentage, and then they sell it in a territory, and then each territory purchaser takes a giant percentage. Then it goes off to the distributor in that territory who take a giant percentage. So Cos ends up with like tiny percentage at the back end, and then even still they'll hit him with a minus number and say, well, you owe us for marketing. And worse than that, they changed the title of his film to something that was inappropriate for the movie. And he was just like, I don't want to do this again. And he saw what we'd done and came and signed. So he's our first signing on the label, and we're really excited to show you what he's done, because for me, this was never about just promoting myself. It was about making sure that other people like Cos could get their voice out there and find their own fan base as well. So I'm really excited to see what people think of it.
I spoke to him at BAFTA the other night, and he's very excited about it too, so it's going to be a great collaboration. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the sales and distribution side.
Okay, okay, so traditionally, if you've got a movie and it's an independent film, and don't get me wrong, this isn't how it is across the board, there's always exceptions, you know, I'm not saying this is the only way, but this is a pretty standard model that you'll experience. Let's say you fund the film yourself, you manage to come into some money, you're going to find yourself in a position where a lot of filmmakers will go out there and you'll just make your film and you're passionate about it, and you don't even really think about it. What happens to it afterwards? Where do you take it after that? And that's a problem in 2016, unfortunately, because you'll find yourself in a you know, essentially a shark tank when you go out to the festivals and try and find buyers. They'll say, you've got no names, you're not worth anything. I'll tell you what, basically they'll do something that I think is quite common to these, they behave like these guys that play women. They use a tactic called negging. Let's make you feel unattractive. And then you'll think I'm sexy, and then you'll come and time with me. And that's a tactic that sales agents use. So they'll meet you, and you'll show me film, and they'll tell you everything that's shit about it, and then say, we'll see you tomorrow. And then you come back the next day, and they'll say, we've had to think about it, we'll do you a favour. We'll take it off your hands, but don't expect anything big. You'll feel kind of deflated and shitty about it. But the reality is that they need your movie, they need your products. If you go to Cannes Film Festival, you will just see row after row of sales agents. There are hundreds of them, all selling films like you wouldn't even imagine, Space Dog and shit you'll never even hear of. So they need your products, and I felt like, okay, something needs to be done about that. The respect should be on the filmmaker. A lot of the monetary value should go back to the filmmaker, particularly if you've self-financed, or if you found an investor who was, brave enough to invest in indie film. Because here's what's happening: if you go that route with your film, that investor will never get his money back, and guess what? He'll never pay for another indie movie. So that's somebody else's film that will never happen now. You're just constantly shrinking the investor pool, and these investors are going away. So the idea about what we do, if the film is of an exceptional standard, we'll go and speak to traditional distribution and we'll get you that. But if it's of a standard where it's like, this is going to have a great audience and it's going to find its voice, but it's never going to be the next Titanic, what we'll do is we'll make sure that you get your little cinema release. We'll make sure that you get on Amazon and iTunes. We'll make sure it's marketed correctly and that people know your film even exists in the first place. And you can do that yourself, in all honesty, if you want to, but at the same time it's an awful lot of work, and we can take that for you now. But the priority is you as a filmmaker, and not a sales agent and then a territory distributor and then the actual distributor that's selling it. And it's a model that works, and I think that moving forward it isn't necessarily going to work so well, and hopefully we fill that gap. I mean, I'm sure you've all noticed there's a big difference between 10 years ago, an indie film cost 5 million. Where are those films now? They've gone. No one wants to take a risk on that kind of thing. So what we're encouraging is that you as filmmakers think about your IP, your property, because that's the real value moving forward. If you can create a valuable IP that could have a franchise behind it, can build up a large audience that might be valuable in a few years, and that you can pull off for not a lot of money, perhaps that's when your value and your investor really makes money, is in 3 or 4 years' time. And that's what Pandorica was. To anybody that's seen it, it's a post-apocalyptic movie. And we shot it in a paintball arena in Billericay. But the idea was to take a big idea, like rip out the core of it and make something that was watchable and that people could enjoy, but there was definitely a bigger universe there. And you're going to see a Pandorica 2 now. It's found a huge audience, and that film will have that $5 million budget because it has an audience now. And I think that's the future model that you guys as filmmakers should start to adopt. Start thinking big. Don't panic that you haven't got a lot of money for your movie. Think big. Don't let the money restrict you. There's always a way to work around not having the money. What you need to do though is think big conceptually, and then think about how you can shrink that down. Is there something you can tell in the middle that you can afford to do, and then imply the world around it? And that is what I think we should be doing as filmmakers if we want to start hitting more commercial heights and being able to sell you stuff. So yeah, that's the best advice I can give you on that front.
Thank you, Tom. Just before we open it up to the audience, I just want to ask you one little Halloween question. What is your favourite horror film of 2016?
2016? Really bizarrely, Ouija 2. The first one was terrible. It's such a bad movie. And I was not interested in the second one in the slightest. And then they said that they got Mike Flanagan to direct it. And he's a guy that came from this exact same path. He made a very, very low budget movie that got noticed. And then before that he did one shot on a 5D Mark II, which did really, really well. But it is very low budget. You can see its origins, and and since then he's made consistently intelligent movies. So I was like, he's doing Ouija 2, what? It's amazing. So yeah, go out and watch that film. Honestly, you'll be really surprised. It's a good film.
Yeah, he's an amazing filmmaker. Any questions from the audience this evening? This gentleman first.
Hi, I'm short film director. Were you a short film director before you made features? If you were, what gave you that push to go forward?
So anyone on Facebook who didn't hear the question, this is coming from a short film director. Again, it's more about the transition questions. were you a short film director before you went into features, and how did you make that transition?
Okay, the answer is no. I didn't direct any short films. Again, it's kind of my mantra with things. You know, if I'm being honest, and this is a question I keep getting asked over and over again, like, what's the difference between a short film and a feature film? And do you know what the honest answer is? The length of time you're shooting. You will come up with the same production challenges. You will come up with the same, like, you know, your door or your phone will knock or ring first thing in the morning, and there'll be a shitload of stuff you've got to figure out and sort out, and that is no different on a short film to a feature film. And for me, it was a case of saying, look, I think I'm personally ready as a director to just go for it and tell a long-form story. But at the same time, I really respect short films, and you know, and every filmmaker is different. You know, we're all, you know, it would be so boring if we were all the same kind of filmmaker. You know, film is art, and you know, some people need to find their voice and find their direction and their vision through the short films they make, and I respect that. So if that's the kind of filmmaker you are, then please, you know, if you even, you know, with the shorts that you've done, and I obviously only saw the one today, but if you feel that you still haven't found your voice or your style, then keep making them until you're ready, until you feel comfortable. But the minute you wake up and think to yourself, yeah, I think I could do it, don't wait, don't let yourself talk yourself out of it, just do it. And you know, Pandorica we shot in 10 days, and Redwood we shot in 14 days.
And what were the budgets for those?
Pandorica cost £77,000, but a large chunk of that actually went on administration, sadly. And then for Redwood, the actual production budget was £110,000. So, you know, there's not a lot of money to play with, you know, but again, it's can you do it? Can you fix the problems? That's what filmmaking is. You're a problem solver. Like, I think anybody that's got this illusion of you sitting in a chair drinking coffee while people do your shit for you, forget it. That is not how it works in 2016. You're a problem solver. And the truth is, it's your own problem that you're here. You caused the problem. The minute you said, I'm going to make a feature film, you caused the problem. So, you know, and then every day it's problem, and your job is to not freak out and not have a go at your crew and not throw temper tantrums. Your job is to fix the problems until your product looks good. Keep a cool head and never try and throw money at the problem either. There's always a way around it. On Pandorica, we had 2 lights, that was it, and 1 generator, and we're shooting the whole film at night. And the whole, you know, we had no contingency budget, and the whole shoot, I'm panicking in the back of my head, if that generator goes, we're in big trouble. And it did go. On day 6 of the 10-day shoot, the generator blew. And we didn't let the crew know, we're all just like, okay, fine. And while lunch was on, we were all on our phones Googling, and somebody Googled, if you put raw eggs in a generator, it can fix them. It did! And the whole thing worked for the way. So, you don't need to spend money, you can fix it with eggs.
Google will save you. Just another question? So in case anyone on Facebook didn't hear that, basically what inspires you to push boundaries with your filmmaking?
I think the thing is, filmmaking, again, you know, I hate to just use old cliches, but filmmaking's always been boundary pushing, right? I mean, it's not even a very old industry. You know, you're talking 100 odd years, really, of this as an industry, and we forget that. But what I love about today's current waft of filmmakers, and I think there is some tensions, I think, between how film has traditionally been done and what's currently happening in film. You know, a lot of the old guard will say, there's too much product on the market, there's too much coming through, and that's a good thing, right? Like, for the first time in history, with our art form, we're like sketch artists now. You know, like, if you want to be an artist, you don't need to go to university, all you need is a pencil and paper. And it used to be with film that you needed to go to university, you needed to network, that you needed to find someone with a shitload of money that would give you money for cameras and stuff. But in 2016, you don't need any of that. All you need is access to YouTube, you need your mobile phone that shoots 4K, you need some friends that are willing to come and work with you, and you can go and make a movie, right? And realistically, the content of the film, that's you. If you're a shit filmmaker, no one's going to save you, right? No Alexa Mini on the planet will make your vision good. So if you can go out there, if you've got a vision and something to do, go and do it with your phone, prove a point, you know? Like Pandorica, we shot on a Sony A7S, and that camera's what, $2,000? You know, we couldn't afford a focus puller. We wanted to do these Movi shots, but we couldn't afford a Movi either. So we got like a £400 like from China rig that just kept flopping around, but gave us long enough, and an autofocus lens that we trusted would be fast enough. you can fix these problems. You know, it's you've got to push boundaries, I think, and that's how you get noticed. You know, and I think if we're not doing that, if you're not attempting in independent film, here's one of the things is actually my biggest bugbear about some independent filmmakers that I know. It's like, oh well, I'm making a movie and it only cost $100,000, so I'm experimenting. That's $100,000, mate. £100,000. Like that's not that's a house.
Yeah.
That's a house in Hull, not down here. That's a house in Hull. So don't experiment with the $100,000. If you want my honest opinion, do you know what? Do you know who's got it right? Kevin Smith. With your first film, make something people want to watch. Like work really hard to make something commercial. Get yourself noticed. Get yourself known. Because then you'll make profit on your movie, and you'll make more films. And then you'll be in a position where you can say, you know what? I am going to make a film about Nazi German sausages that call up people's ass, which is what Kevin Smith has done. Who wants to watch that? Probably nobody, but he can do that now, you know? If he'd have done that in the beginning, would he ever been in a position to do it? So, for me, pushing boundaries to try to make your film as commercially viable as possible is exactly what you should be doing with loads of, mid-budget movies, so.
Fantastic. We've got another question. Just another question just at the back there. So the question was, do you and did you have an agent, and did they help you through the process?
Okay, so the answer is I did, and then I got rid of them, and now I don't. Again, you know what? I mean, this is something we were actually talking about earlier. Again, the rules are different now. It's 2016. You're your own marketing machine. You know, truthfully, and I know there's probably a lot of actors in here that know this game really well. You know, the amount of actors I speak to, well, I go for them. Do you know what? As wrong as it might be, in truth, it's like I followed them because they've got 300,000 followers, and they've worked really hard to build that up. Then I might watch their show reel and it's crap, and I think, okay, fine. But I watched it in the first place, right? And if an agent had sent me that guy's show reel, it might have sat in my inbox for a while. Like, you can make yourself noticed, and I think as directors, again, we're now fortunately, and I do think it's fortunate, we're in the same boat now. You can be your own marketing machine. You can make people want to watch your stuff, and that's what I've been doing. And I'm fielding offers now, and don't get me wrong, there's been a few come in since Pandora came out that I'm like, oh God, maybe I should take that. But my gut tells me to just keep going as I am for a little while longer and see what happens. So, but again, there's nothing wrong with agents. If you've got a great agent that's going out getting you work, then keep that relationship great, because we all want the easy life at the end of the day. I'd love to not have to get up in the morning and hustle hard, but it's about making that relationship with someone that you trust and is there for you. If you get an agent that doesn't ever call you, or only phones you up to pick up 20% of a job that you got in, don't get rid of that guy. You don't want him. So, yeah, that's probably the best advice I can give for you. Just follow your gut, do your own thing. If the right agent comes in, jump on it. If they don't worry. It's not like you can't get the work, basically.
That's great advice. Absolutely. Any other questions before we wrap things up? Where was the location for Redwood?
Okay, so Redwood was shot in Karpniki in Poland, actually, which was, bizarrely, I had sort of apprehensions about filming in Poland because I was worried about the language barrier between me and the Polish crew. I ended up learning so much Polish, I loved it. And I genuinely, this is not even made up, I left England with 92 quid changed into zloty. And I was like, well, I'll get more when I'm over there. I came back with 46 quid, you just can't get rid of it. I was like, and I wasn't exactly not spending it. I was like, I'll have steak and chips and a Red Bull, please, mate. It's like, that's 2 zloty. I was like, how much? So from a production perspective, again, this really goes back to what I was saying earlier. Do it now before we come out of the EU, which, is really upsetting for me. But there's some great locations out there in Europe. They want to work with you. The town we shot in, the community were amazing. They came out and supported the film every night, and we treated them like family, and we let them watch the whole thing. And even now, there's some old woman, and she's like, I don't know. I mean, this lady looked old. I was surprised she had a phone, but now she's like Facebooking the Redwood group with pictures of. They built a shrine on one of the locations of all the photos, and she keeps taking photos of herself with it. And that's cool. As a production, we tried to help them out. Everywhere we went and we built something or we put something up, we were like, do you know what? Have have it. So it's still, I've got this vision now of some Polish family going on holiday in that area and just stumbling across all our horror stuff and accidentally thinking they're in a horror film and, you know, just like going through the motions. But you know what, yeah, there's some fantastic locations out there. Again, it comes down to hustling. You know, Pandoriga's a post-apocalyptic movie and it's supposed to be set 500 years in the future. And I was like, well, where are we going to shoot that? And the answer to that question was 3 days in the Lake District, nice. And then the rest of it is in a paintball arena in Billericay. Because, you know, we go down there and he's got everything you need. You've got the, you know, the forest location. And I'll be honest with you, I went and spoke to this guy. You know, bearing in mind I was dealing with the Forest Commission and all this stuff, trying to get access to locations. And they're like, no, you've got fire. No, there's a gun in the film. That's a spoiler. Sorry, Facebook Live. There's a gun in the box. Ruined it. Yeah, ruined it. Sorry. But, you know, they're like, no, you can't have that stuff. We just wouldn't let you do it. And you're not shooting at night either, and your crew can only have 6 people. I was like, for God's sakes. And then we found this location, this airsoft arena, it's run by one guy. And we're like, so how much to shoot here? He's like, well, I've never done anything like this. I only open on a Sunday. We're like, well, how much for the rest of the week? We want it for 2 weeks. And he's like, make me an offer. So I was just cheeky and said, I'll give you 1,500 quid. And he was like, oh, I can't do it for that, mate. 3 grand and I'll throw the generator and a catering truck in. I've got a deal. You know, so it's about hustling, it's about fixing problems, it's about saying, you know what, don't let your lack of money stop your vision. You know, go and make a post-apocalyptic film. I did and got away with it. So, you know, you guys can too. I watched what you did tonight, so you can do it.
Go and Google it, Google Tom's work, get involved, go and watch everything he does. He's amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom Payson, everyone.